God dag mina damer, herrar och små glöpfräsar. Du luktar fantastiskt idag. Och låt inte någon annan säga någonting annat till dig. Today we're gonna do something absolutely beautiful. We're gonna look at r/tAmericansSay. It's sort of like confidently incorrect, but with like an extra little spice on it. You know when you're home eating ass? And it's like really spicy, and it's like, honey, did you eat chili yesterday? And it's like, wow, I know you love it when I detonate the toilets. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of fun. You know, most American people that I speak on a regular basis are really fun individuals that I enjoy vibing with, and I call them friends. But there is a very loud, unhinged minority, as in basically every population, and they take to the internet to make their opinions. No, I say this because the opinion is basically like, you have to respect people's opinion. The opinion? 2 + 2 is 5. So yeah, it's gonna be really funny. Enjoy. Mwah. Ah, yes indeed. In before the 40% of my audience that is American just like raw dogs my Twitter or something like that. No, you're beautiful little beans, you know? You're the... You're the good ones. Holy f***, that's cursed. Let's get on with it.
The fact that the Vatican can't afford central AC, it's giving broke.
She doesn't even rotate.
This doesn't do anything. Whose job is this? To go out and buy the tower fans at the Vatican.
You expect a building that is like... How old is the Vatican? Hold on, how old is the Vatican? Ooh, good old Wikipedia. It was initially planned in the 15th century by Pope Nicholas V. Construction began on 18th of April 1506 and was completed 18th of November 1626. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think central AC units were particularly standardized in the 1500s. It's just a little bit of a guesstimation. To be fair, though, this video gives more like insufferable tourist vibes more than specifically American. I know Swedes are insufferable sometimes when we travel. Ah, good times. Next post, please! If you can't tip your server, don't go out and eat. If you can't tip your server, don't go out and eat. Your bill, 107. Move decimal over 1, 10.75. Then times it by 3, 32.75. That doesn't add up, does it? Final total, 139. 10.75 times 3 isn't 32.75 either. Ah, yes indeed, tipping culture debates. I love it because it gets so controversial because tipping culture is so different depending on which country you're in. And then everyone comes together online and it's just a beautiful little shit fest. It's absolutely astounding. I've realized that I think so many things we experience as controversial or rage-baity or whatever online isn't necessarily because people are in the right or in the wrong sometimes. It's because people from vastly different backgrounds and expectations just like kind of clash that wouldn't normally clash because everyone is just kind of doing their thing IRL, you know? I think that's one of the reasons the internet feels so disagreeable compared to like IRL sometimes. That's just a little bit of a fun side tangent, isn't it? But seriously though, America, pay your service worker a living wage for fuck's sake. What's wrong with you?
While in Germany, I found an Aldi. Oh, this Aldi is nothing like an American Aldi. I saw some of the same products, but nothing American, sad emoji, or anything written in English. I was lost.
You know Aldi is a German store, right? And in any capacity, why would something be written in English in Germany? And also like... Is this the main tourist destination? You realize the same brand of store can be like international? Man, we're gonna have posts about like IKEA being American or something like that in a couple of posts. I swear to God. I'm calling it. Imagine saying this to the German Chancellor. June 6 is the D-Day anniversary when the Americans ended a war in Europe.
Not a pleasant day for you? Not a great day?
This was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship. Tell us where he's wrong. We will wait! I was conversing with someone who has a PhD in history a little while back, and they said something very smart that I think resonates pretty well with this weird little interview right here. And they said that something that people forget sometimes is that the first country who fell to Nazi dictatorship was actually Germany itself. And I think that resonates pretty well with this right here, and like claiming it's not a good day for someone like this is such a wild thing to say, man. Oh my god. How can people look at house building using bricks and another using wood and not think wood is the superior option? This might be a hot take, but brick house is better than wood house. I mean, I guess it depends on a lot of stuff, right? But also that wood house looks kind of wild. Like, I am not a constructionist, alright? But why are there like no supportive pillars in the corners or anything? Everything is like thin planks. Is this how it's supposed to be? This looks weird to me. I've never built a house per se, but I have built like wooden decks and that kind of stuff. And typically you have like corner pieces and parallel pieces that are like proper thick pieces of wood, like the supporting structure, right? Where the f is the supporting structure? No wonder you think the brick building is superior when the house looks like this. It's gonna fall over by a gust of wind. Don't know, like Chad medieval oak half timber or virgin cheap pine frame with some plasterboard slapped on top? Look at this. I drew myself as the Chad building in this meme, and you as the virgin building. Checkmate, atheist. From a country where they have termites as well. Their termites are American. They're the most beautiful termites in the world. Also the strongest termites, the best termites, the most tariffed termites. R/German. Looking for examples of usage of Danke schön. You mean Danke schön? You didn't even spell it correctly. Before 1963? What do you mean? Thank you didn't exist in German before 63? Or was this a term coined by a songwriter? The song Danke schön was popular in the US in the early 1960s. Okay, wait. Americans invented thank you in German in the 60s. Is that where this post is going? The story is that in German, there was no word for thank you. So the German-sounding word, Danke schön, was coined by a songwriter. They spell it differently every time they type it. I can't, man. I'm f***ing sweating. I wonder if the term Danke schön was indeed created by Wayne Newton, or his songwriter. Most importantly, is there any evidence of the term being used in the German language prior to Wayne Newton introduced this song? Thank you! Danke schön was composed by Bert Kampfert, a German composer living in the US in the 1960s. So he took a phrase of German and put it into a song that was extremely successful in the USA. How anyone comes up with the idea that Danke schön was invented by an American and also names the wrong author and misspells the title is completely beyond me. I'm seriously inclined to chalk it up to being typically American. This has to be a troll, right? This has to be a troll. Please tell me this is a troll. For the sake of my peace of mind, I'm gonna pretend this is a troll and move on. Ah, the serenity. Non-Americans of Reddit, how does it feel living in a US-centric world? r/tAmericansSay. I mean, I suppose Sweden, for example, is relatively inspired by the US. Like, we don't dub the movies we import, for example. A decent chunk of music and pop culture we share with the US, I suppose. But, you know, we have our own stuff going on as well, I suppose. So this is a bit of a weird question. And there is also IKEAs in the US, to be fair. So, you know, it's a bit of a back and forth, isn't it? One is 67% cheaper than the other, yet they taste the exact same. I don't know why anyone would buy the 450 brand unless they're just bad with money. Hershey's milk chocolate, 150, and here's Lindt Swiss Classic for 450. You know what? I don't actually have the experience to compare these two, because Lindt I see in basically every single country I travel to. It seems to be imported everywhere, right? Hershey's I have never actually tried, and I don't think I've ever seen it outside of the US. Is that just me? I mean, maybe that's mean that the Lindt one is actually good. Who knows? This is such a weird thing, man. I think in Germany, you can't really say your opinion like we do. Isn't it illegal to talk bad about the government or something? You're thinking about like North Korea, man. I heard people get fined just for posting stuff online. Wild. I hope you're all doing okay over there. Yes, that is totally true. Every time I say something bad about the government, a guy in a grey coat comes and deletes my internet. We're not allowed to think freely unless it's about bread or football. But hey, at least the trains arrive eventually. Sometimes. Maybe. Wait, for real? That sounds kinda scary, man. I always thought Germany was like super advanced with rules and science and stuff. Didn't know y'all had internet police. Do they really watch what websites you go on? Oh, absolutely. There is a guy named Klaus in every basement monitoring Google searches. If you type freedom more than twice, he starts the paperwork. It's very efficient. Very German. Oh nein, es ist Internet, Klaus! Run! Quickly, children, delete your browser history. Klaus is on... Klaus is come a-knockin'.
I am starting a new business of importing American water to Europe to slowly introduce Europeans to the concept of drinking water. Uh-huh. I'll call it TAP, which is short for True American Pure Water.
How will we tell the difference between your beer and your water? Oh, burn. It won't work. American water is imperial. Ours is metric. European here. Love that idea. Just what we are waiting for in our underdeveloped pieces of shit. Man, I can't wait for America to bring us drinking water. It's been too long without drinking water, man. Pokemon TCG. What's the deal with this card? Without being condescending or rude, you do know Germans speak Dutch, right? I am German, and we don't speak Dutch, bro. That's BS. Based off my American-German girlfriend and her entire family is still in Germany. That's what they say. In Germany, we speak Deutsch, not Dutch. Maybe that's where the confusion comes from. Yeah, I think so too. You know what's so funny? Sometimes when I'm out and about, I will hear like German from a distance, and I'm thinking like, das ist Deutsch. And I come closer, and I realize I don't actually understand what they're saying. And I realize that, oh, this is actually Dutch. It's kind of weird, because like from a distance, when you're just like catching the end of some words or whatever, sounds a bit similar, but then you realize it's not, man. Wait. IKEAs exist in Sweden? I thought they were Swedish-American as a way of importing Swedish culture to America. Oh my god, I called it. I am the Swedish Nostradamus. Bro, the original IKEA was literally made in Sweden. They are the owners. We had nothing to do with IKEA. Well, tell that to the stuffed bear that's called, what is it, Djungelskog? Or the Blåhaj? Typical American names. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually called it. Aldi is American, IKEA is American. America made IKEA to put it in Sweden to enhance our culture, so we know that we're actually Swedish. This is great. I'm so grateful, man.
You landed Europe and instantly realize you overpacked? You can't find iced coffee?
What do you mean? I have like iced coffee in my grocery store 5 minutes away from where I live.
You said bathroom instead of toilet? Everyone dresses up better than you. Tell me your culture shock moment abroad.
This is your culture shock. Iced coffee and calling something bathroom or toilet. Dear God, lack of a place where you can buy a good cup of coffee is the biggest for me.
What?
Europe is the size of Texas. Did you land in Valencia or Doncaster? Very different experiences. I remember my first time in Europe in Paris and didn't find a restaurant that serves scrambled eggs and bacon like Denny's in the States. Why would you go to Paris to try to find a Denny's? My brain just did a few like fascinating leaps in like quiet storytelling by itself, and it ended up with a weird little story where I traveled to the US, get picked up by my American friends, who tell me, "Oh my god, you're Swedish? Let us bring you to the local IKEA." I don't know where it landed, but that was kind of like, the vibe, you know, was very, very similar. It's weird. America. I'm going to pay my 24% income taxes, use part of my 5 weeks vacation to book a cruise. 5 weeks vacation? Damn. Europe. I'm going to pay my 70% income tax bill, buy my groceries from the state-owned grocery store, communism, and wait 2 years to get heart surgery. Laughing in European. Man, 70% income tax, huh? I feel like half the people on Facebook or Twitter, whenever they're making some kind of argument, they just like pick up a die that looks like this, and they just shake it, and like, ooh, it says 70, and that's the number they write in their post. That's like their source material. It's a fucking dice roll. Canada done f***ed up now. The tariffs for them is probably gonna be so high they'll literally come back begging to be the 52nd state. 52nd state? Where did the other one come from? Does your state require front license plates? Never understood the purpose of front plates. Wait a second, is this an actual controversy in the US, like having a registry plate in the front of your car? Wait, is this actually a hill that people are crawling up to die on? Do ID the vehicle from the front. Yeah, that's pretty obvious, I would imagine that. But why? When is this necessary? But do you understand the purpose of license plates? Police reading plates from the front of the car? Lol. It's weird how strong the front plate cult of Reddit seems to be. What a weird thing. Man, out of all the hills to die on, you know, the internet is kind of beautiful in a way. It's like this big open field, and it's full of like tiny, tiny little anthills. And ooh, over there is a little pile of poo because a cow took a dump here, right? And then people like this are like, man, look at this tiny little dump hill that a cow made. I'm gonna crawl up on this one and die on it. You know? It's so fascinating to see. Hate the look of front plates, so I am a proponent of getting rid of them. Also, if one state does it, it sort of makes them less effective everywhere. I'd be interested to know what the fuel efficiency impact is across the millions of cars using them. I don't think a front plate is going to affect the aerodynamics of your car, like in the least, okay? This is incredibly ridiculous. You have a much more impactful and noticeable difference with like fuel usage depending on like the direction of the wind when you're driving, you know? Is this actually... Oh my god, people are really making arguments like this. Holy this is an amazing rabbit hole. I'm so happy I'm here today. I bet eliminating them entirely would result in a non-trivial amount of fuel savings across the country. Press X to doubt. What kind of stupid law is that? A front license plate serves no purpose. License plates were made by gas companies to increase your aerodynamic resistances so they can sell more gas. Is a waste of resources and waste of tax dollars. Front plates suck. They're ugly and they disrupt airflow. Do they though? Probably don't help fuel economy either. Has anyone actually done the science on this? Like, I don't know, man, but where my license plates are located on my car, it's just like kind of a flat surface. I don't think it affects it in the least. A group where you can ask any question. Oh my god, this group has to be a gold mine.
How do I get a Scottish citizenship from my DNA? I recently did a DNA test. I live in America because I wanted to use it to move to Ireland. I was always told I was Irish, but was disappointed to learn I'm not. I was even learning Gaelic online so I could know the language my people speak before I move there. Based on the results, I would like to use this to gain Scottish citizenship instead. Very good, very good. Adaptable plans. English citizenship would be my second choice. Ah, yes, indeed, if the Scottish won't have me, I'm sure the English will. I would like to avoid immigrating to Germany because I do not like or support their history.
Okay, I hate to break it to you, lady, but like, Germans don't support German history. Okay? Like you'll be fine.
And I don't care at all about the other places as they look too boring for me. Thank you.
Ooh, I can see like the next borderline scam YouTube sponsorship thing, right? First, you have a sponsor of like MyHeritage or something. It's like DNA test. And then you have another service that's like, apply for citizenship based on your percentages in this test. And you know, they technically provide the service. Of course, it's gonna be declined every single time, but they don't tell you that part. They just help you direct you to where you can actually apply. And then you'll send a PDF that says you have 2.5% Scottish DNA in your asshole. And then you'll get a citizenship.
We invented cars. No sane country would say boot for the trunk. The symbols are for people in most of the country. Try again.
The first car was built in Germany by Benz in 1886. Okay, at this point, it's not even people like finding that little stain of a hill in the middle of a field and crawling up on it and insisting to die on it. Now they're like building their own hills just to die on it. You come out to a field and it's like, oh boy, Cletus, what you doing there? And it's like, I'm building this little hill so I can die on it. And it's like, man, that's a fine tradition of the internet, isn't it?
What does this mean? I've tried writing the whole month out with no abbreviations and this still comes up. Do I save anyways? Gender, female, status, living, birth date, August 1st, 1959. This format can be saved, but may impact our ability to find hints. Please use date, month, year.
01 Aug 1959. Okay, to be fair though, this is kind of confusing. I don't think I've ever bumped into a form where they want you to mix letters and numbers. I can definitely see people getting confused by this, right? Like the classic is to have like, you know, if month, date, or year comes first, and you know, it's flipped between like, I don't know, Europe and America for some reason, which is a little bit odd. But I don't think I've actually seen this. So, I mean, this confusion is sort of valid to me. I would probably like pull a brain fart on this and be like, what? August, is that 008? Then, what is it they want, you know? I wouldn't instantly think of this, to be honest. What country do you absolutely recommend avoiding in Europe during the summer? All of Europe, too dangerous with all the riots, floods, earthquakes, typhoons, rebellions, thieves and scammers. Also dangerous foods without EPA labels and traffic is just suicide. Really, it's too dangerous. Stay in the US. You know what's so funny? Whenever you see a comment like this, you can just be 100% sure they have never actually been to the place they're talking about. It's like 100% accuracy. Very few things in reality are like 100 or 0%, but this, definitely one of them. Holy crap, this is my seat. 1F. There is only 5 of them in the front of this train. Around 40 minutes to travel around 120 kilometers. The cost is $29. Tell me again why we don't have this in the USA. That looks incredibly comfortable.
Because kids have cars here, unlike poverty-stricken Europe.
Even funnier that they assume Europe is the only place with good trains, considering the photo is from China.
USA can't have nice trains like China because kids in USA have cars unlike kids in Europe. So if you remove cars from kids in USA and give them to kids in Europe, USA will be able to have nice trains like China. Yeah.
I love the fact that Americans think Europe is all one place. Like you're going to get the same thing in Sweden and Bulgaria. Oh my god, Sweden, shout out to you.
I mean, you call us Americans, but I would argue individual states are much or more culturally distinct, think California versus the Appalachia, than Sweden is from Bulgaria.
Have you been to both Sweden and Bulgaria? Is gonna be my next question to this. I already know the answer, but it's kind of like for semantics. I love how this always comes from people that have probably never left the country, and much less been to Sweden and Bulgaria, and think Sweden and Switzerland is the same thing. Psst. Secret. Sweden and Switzerland are the same thing, and we speak a language called Swergl. It's completely incomprehensible. I remember I was traveling up in the mountains in Switzerland, and I consider my German to be pretty okay, and I, depending on the region, I can dabble in Swiss German. And I came up, and I was like, Grüezi, wie geht's? And they replied with, and I was like, what? And it's that awkward moment where you say, like, sorry, come again, like 5 times, and after a while you just nod and smile, Man, that was a reality check. R/confidently incorrect, coming out of the roundabout.
Roundabouts! Either put up a stop sign or a stop light.
You could learn to drive. Roundabouts are fantastic if the directional spread is better than about 90% to 10.
They're cool for residential neighborhoods, but on busy roads they back up traffic and make it harder on pedestrians. And God forbid there's a wreck, because that will make what could have been a simple 4-way into a 1-lane circle.
There are plenty of roundabouts that are more than 1 lane, my dude. I don't know what you're yapping about.
And there is no way to turn around either, so you're stuck. Yeah, it looks nice and ideally it works nice, but nah, a simple 4-way stop sign or light would suffice.
I have literally heard a US YouTuber unironically called roundabouts communism. What do you mean? What? They just need to call roundabouts freedom circles and spread a rumor that traffic lights makes you trans. Unironically, that would sort of work nowadays, wouldn't it? Man, it's amazing that humanity has evolved this far. France's new high-speed trains were just revealed and they're incredible. I don't know why incredible is in like quotations, if this is in a satirical post or not. Probably paid for by American taxpayers through overcharging tariffs to Americans. After like COVID, and now after seeing like tariff arguments online, I have completely lost faith in the collective intelligence of humanity. It's great. I can't wait for like dolphins or takeover or what the fuck. So you paid in dollars? Euros. I hadn't thought of that. What is the symbol for euros? I thought $sign was universal for money. I mean, it's literally on your keyboard, bro. It's on your keyboard, man. Right next to the $sign. Actually. I mean, mine is also like a Swedish keyboard, so that's like and shit, but yeah.
This is America, we speak English.
American complaining on a German Instagram page that the Germans don't speak English. Context, a video on a German Instagram page of people's festivals in Bavaria, Germany, in which a girl speaks her native language while getting interviewed. An American complained about that because
this is America, speak English.
Wait, this is amazing. So here's the little interview in Germany by German people by a German page.
This is America, we speak English.
Well, that is in Germany, where they speak German. The world doesn't revolve around America.
It kinda does, though.
I'm guessing you've never left America. Oh, this reminds me of that viral story a while ago where like a Karen got super upset at a bus driver for not speaking American. The bus driver, was Chinese, driving a bus in China. But I guess that's beside the point. God forbid people have their own languages. Disgusting.
Trump. Russia fought with us in World War II, and everybody hates them, and Germany and Japan, they're fine. Someday somebody will explain that. Everybody hates Russia, and they love Germany and Japan. It's a strange world.
When's the last time Germany or Japan invaded a neighbor and occupied their territory? World War II, because both are still occupied, rightfully, by the US. What kind of alternative timeline is this? My family has been in America for nearly 400 years, but my DNA results are still 100% English. I went to the UK 2 decades ago. It felt like one giant family reunion. Everyone looked like a relative of mine. I never knew a place could be like that, where everyone feels like family. I wonder what this person actually means, right? The only thing I can think about is like, there were more white people maybe? Is that what they mean? And that's why everyone is family? Is there any other reason? This, oh my god. Colorblind test. Oh, that's a red strawberry. It's color, not color. Are you American by any chance? Rispondi. How would you know? After years and years, the only user on Steam in North Korea disconnected. No, that was so beautiful. It was one little green dot in North Korea. It was so beautiful. The only North Korean user is back, guys. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Woo! Australia looks like Africa. Absolutely embarrassing. Yeah, why do the kangaroos or giant spiders not have Steam? And the emus, I bet they would kick some ass. Don't let the emus into the PvP games. They will absolutely dominate every single server, okay? I mean, they already dominate PvP IRL. We don't need them on Steam. Participants were asked to find Iran on a map. That's a lot of dots. I think it was something like 28%. Managed to get it. I mean, a decent chunk of the dots are like sort of in the area. I'm not like too disappointed in this, to be honest. Like, it could be way worse. I'm a little bit concerned with the dots that are like over in Spain or like the UK or whatever. That's a little off, but like, you know, the main cluster of the dots is like sort of ish in the correct region, you know. Interesting, not terrible. I wonder how many Iranians would identify Massachusetts on a map. I wonder how many people from USA could identify Massachusetts on a map. I wonder how many USA could identify the USA on a map. I mean, to be fair, I am absolutely terrible at American geography, right? It's all just a bunch of fucking squares. Nothing stands out. You have like Florida, and then you need California, and then New York and shit. And then here you have like 15 Dakotas. You know, that's basically how it goes.
Dear British people, it's YouTube, not YouTube. Where is the cha? Thank you.
I shouldn't need subtitles to understand someone speaking English. English people need to get their shit out of their mouth before they speak.
Read that back to yourself, but like slowly. English people need to learn how to speak English. Bruh. Although I have like a kind of a funny story. When I was in like a gaming group a bunch of years ago, one of the dudes in the group was Scottish with like a very heavy accent. And for the first couple of weeks, I like constantly misunderstood him to the point that someone else was like translating for me sometimes. It was wild. You know those moments where you say, sorry? What was that? For like the 5th time in a row? It's great. But after a while, your ears kind of get used to the accent, and after 2 weeks, I perfectly understood everything he said. And even nowadays, to this day, whenever there's like a clip viral of like a Scottish person speaking, there was a viral clip in like Scottish Parliament, I think, or something like that. And it was a guy speaking in like a heavy accent. And people are like, oh my god, I don't understand him. And I'm like, I actually understand it because I learned how to listen to stuff like this back when I was gaming. And they say gaming doesn't teach you things. Take that, boomers. Living in Europe means casually driving from Italy to Monaco every day for lunch. Absolutely love it. American here. Yeah, now we know, just to be sure. Yes, Europe is a country. Your little countries are not big enough to be recognized separately. Texas bigger than Germany. That's all I have to say. Yes, indeed. All those states and borders and they no longer exist because little Mr. Stinky Face commented this on Instagram. I'm so happy we have this much power on social media. Isn't this the argument we used to do when we were like 5 in school and you would argue with a classmate like,
my cousin could beat up your cousin.
But instead of being 5 years old and it's your cousin, it's adults, and they're doing it with like landmass. Isn't that really funny and strange? To all you Celsius users who defend Celsius by saying, oh, but 0 is the temperature at which water freezes, I hope you know how illogical that sounds. Metric system, more like hysterical system, defeated by facts and logic. I don't know, man. I think it's pretty logical. It's like, oh, it freezes at 0, it boils at 100, and that's a pretty, like, easy scale to memorize. I also liked, you know, the metric system when it's like, you know, oh, it's 1 meter, and then 1,000 for a kilometer, and 10,000 for a mile, and, you know, that kind of stuff. I remember my American friends was like, no, but we have our memory rules, like tomato. So it's like 2 feet per ass crack, and then you get a mile. What?
I have never felt this mentally well in my whole life. Yay!
What a time to post this.
Why?
Are you willfully ignorant of the Supreme Court dismantling our freedoms, or are you conservative or just stupid?
She lives in Germany, bro. I don't see anyone in this screenshot saying what you're referring to is a good thing, but God forbid people live in different countries and have a good day, I guess. Fuck. Foda demais. Brazil flag. Translate to English. Too bad. An America flag. They even translate the flag. Nah, bro.
The word black in Spanish still doesn't sit right with me.
The fact is that we don't use that word in bad ways.
It doesn't matter. Don't say it, period. You're not black.
Bro, it literally means a color.
No, but don't you realize your language isn't valid because I think so on Twitter.com.
The feminine urge to get a giant dog, buy a tiny house in the woods, and leave your former life behind. I don't think this is gender specific though. That sounds like an absolute vibe.
But what are you doing to give stewardship of the land back to the people indigenous to it?
I live in Ireland. What an absolutely out-of-pocket thing to say. I mean, even if they weren't Irish, it's a pretty wild out-of-pocket thing to say. But you didn't even get the country right. What? Also, who comments that out of the blue like this? Wannabe woke white knights. It's such a bummer that people are like this and are more interested in like virtue signaling than actually doing good things. I think a pretty good example of this that I have encountered IRL is, for example, when I have people around me, friends or family who are immigrants, and they go to like, you know, a program in university or whatever, and you have all these people that are like super excited about like, oh my god, let's have workshops about like intersectionality and anti-colonialism, yay, anti-racism. And the same people who are so eager to virtue signal about this kind of stuff and like host these workshops are surprisingly often the same people who are like low-key racist and dismissive of other people and just kind of treats them poorly just because they happen to have an accent or something like that. Like completely dismiss them in group projects, don't let them speak, kind of push them down, or do kind of like high school bully-esque behaviors. It's kind of wild to me. I think this kind of stuff is so invaded by people who are more interested in just virtue signaling rather than just being a decent person to the ones around you. You know, it's such a bummer. A pound of Jesus. When I was in school, we sold him a 50p of inflation, killer. Since someone decided to report my comment as homophobic hate speech, I guess I must clarify in a bloody Scottish subreddit that here, means a cigarette, you fucking weapon. It has nothing to do with gays in this context. Get a grip. Further edit, thank you for the gold, you numpty. Next time, get yourself a tin of urn and brewing eggs and sausage roll instead of spending your hard-earned pennies on me. It's also wild someone reported this, even if you weren't aware of like the linguistic differences. It would still be so weird in context. A pound of what would that mean? Half a kilogram per gay person. When I was in school, we sold them for 50. Like, what do you mean? How would this make any sense? If that's the context he's trying to put it in.
How can this be today when it's 7:45 a.m. and this says it happened at 11 a.m.?
Hi there. We are the National Gallery in London.
Maybe put that on your screen name. There is a National Gallery in Washington, D.C.
Ah yes, every single page ever on social media needs to put parentheses, not in America. Sounds reasonable. You know, I'm not sure how to tell you this, I'm just gonna tell you it straight up. There is way more people in the world outside of your time zone than there are in your time zone.
I will never use your product unless you celebrate the 4th.
We're Polish, sir. I sometimes get this, like in a more like kind-hearted spirit, right? Sometimes I have people ask me like, "Oh, what did you do for the 4th of July?" And it's like, what do you mean? I mean, that's usually the more positive way, you know, so I'm not gonna rack down on it, but it's just kind of funny how that translates online sometimes.
The right to bear arms is universal. That's the recognition made by the Second Amendment. This guy rights are absolutely being infringed here by the Australian government. On top of that, councils are a violation of your private property rights up until the line you infringe someone else's property rights.
Today I learned the American Constitution is universal/S.
The American Constitution, it's sort of in the name, isn't it?
A nice try, but slavery is illegal. Has been since 1865, actually.
United States laws certainly apply all over the world, don't they?
I would like you to show me the exact line in the 13th Amendment that says this only applies in the US. Checkmate, you silly little bean.
I don't know, maybe it's, you know, in the title or whatever. That would be a first place to start for a hint.
R/France. Why is everything on here in French?
This sub is about the place, not the language. Reddit is American and we speak English. Edit, touchy bunch, I guess. Some of y'all are downright mean. How on earth are you so arrogant that you barge into a place like this? And then you're like, oh my god, you're all so rude. Oh, this is amazing. This is a gold mine.
Which foreign language did you study in high school? Spanish, French, Italian, German, Latin, other?
English? Yeah. And also German. And also a bit of French, although I forgot everything.
Ah, well, laddies, lasses, and lassos.
I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed having you here, you wonderful, beautiful bean. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day because you do deserve it, and I will see you in the very near future. Take care.